Saying, "I have a sweet tooth," causes weight regain. Now that sentence is one of the most common phrases I hear with clients in first sessions when they want to lose weight and keep it off. Now what they don't realise is this harmless sounding sentence is actually wiring the brain to make change harder. Now, if you click this video, chances are you've lost weight before, but then life happened. More stress, less time, less energy. And suddenly your progress starts slipping. And the scary part is you're wondering what happens if this process keeps repeating. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 3 psychological factors that must be addressed if you want your results to stick long term and feel effortless. Now this doesn't require more discipline or more time, which you don't have. Instead, it's about rewiring the patterns that are causing the behavior. I'm going to explain exactly what that means. So if you've ever said, "I'm all or nothing," or "when I start, I just can't stop," this video is for you. Hi, I'm James, a registered sport nutritionist, and I help people improve their energy, their performance, and their body composition long term. And when clients go through my process, their cravings naturally come down. So I plan to share with you some of the secrets that I use to help enable this change.
Having it, has that actually reduced total intake?
I'd probably say so, yeah. I said I've little cravings and little kind of intake of biscuits and all that. I said I've probably, since we last spoken, had 3 or 4 over the course of five working days. So whereas beforehand I'd happily have 3 or 4 in a sitting, then go back an hour later and make another cup of tea and take another kind of little stack of digestives again or something like that. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Complete mindset shift. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And no, so I have no cravings, 0. It's great because I used to like, oh, it's just 1 Haribo. No, it's just half a bag of Haribos is fine. But now none, 0.
This video is not about restriction. It's not a fad. It's about proven strategies that fix behavior at the root. Let's get into it. So here are 3 psychological factors that we need to get right if we're to have long-term behavior change and actually have the type of weight loss that stays and is actually easy to maintain. So this first one. Now, if you're only good at Pictionary and you're able to interpret my drawing, this is a label, but we can also call this an identity. Now, little phrases like in the title of this video, "I have a sweet tooth." That is a label you have given yourself, which now puts you in a category and makes it easier to continue to embrace the habits that fulfill that. So another identity shift or another identity or phrase that I often hear is, "After dinner, I have to have something sweet." Now, that probably is not necessarily when you're hungry, it's just a habit that's now become ingrained. And because you've identified as someone who has to have something sweet, again, I want to challenge the vocabulary there. If you say that or you even think that, it's gonna be so hard to break that because that's something that your subconscious brain is now thinking, well, that's what we do. Another phrase I often hear is, "When I open X product," or "if I open a bag of biscuits or a packet of crisps, I just can't stop." Now, although at this point you may think that that is the truth because of previous experience, I want you to challenge that and I want you to start changing the narrative. I want you to start believing something different, even though at this point you don't think it's true, because we want to change what your subconscious brain is thinking. So whenever you have those thoughts that put you into some sort of box that isn't actually where you want your long-term health, body recomposition goals to be, I want you to catch it and challenge it. So next time you hear yourself saying or thinking, "Oh, when I open a pack of Pringles, I just have to eat the whole thing," I want you to be like, I've just said one of those labels about myself. And in the moment, I want you to think, how can I reframe this? So this is where we're going with it. We're gonna rewrite the narrative about yourself. So instead of saying, "I have a sweet tooth, therefore I have to eat sweets," or "when I open something, I just can't stop," I want us to say, "I enjoy some sweet food." Enjoy, so that means you can stop. And some means, again, you've got the option to pause, to not have to go for the whole thing. When I open a pack of Pringles, I can eat mindfully, I can eat intentionally. Start using these words to change. And again, this sounds really, really like daft almost, because you're thinking, what does that actually have an impact on? It's just a thought process. But honestly, by changing that thought process, by challenging, what we're doing in the brain is we're rewiring it. What your brain is doing, I'm gonna do a quick image here. So this is a very, very rough picture of our brain. Now, when our brain is doing a thought, it wants to go from A to B. It's trying to get there as quickly as possible because our brain is lazy and it's trying to do the most efficient thing. So if we have a route, which is we open a pack of Pringles, if we've had that thought of, well, I'm always going to finish it, it's going to be like, right, we've done that thought lots of times, it's going to take that road. So now if we're trying to create a new thought, which is open a pack of Pringles and I can eat mindfully, even at this point, because we've had all this experience doing this, we create a new road that's doing this. We're going to point C over here. At the start, it's going to be hard because it's not such a main road. That's why we need to keep thinking it. We need to keep practicing it, keep saying it. Even if sometimes it doesn't work, that's okay. We're going to keep practicing. Suddenly, this will become more of a main road than this one. And therefore, our brain will want to go there subconsciously. That's going to make this whole process of behavior change easier. So we're going to rewrite and rewire, making sure we're challenging any labels that we have about ourselves. This second psychological factor is the 100% emoji. This is the all or nothing approach. This is, James, when I'm good with my nutrition, I'm really good. And then when I'm off, oh God, I can't get started. Or if I haven't done everything 100%, then it feels like a bit of a failure. Or maybe you identify, again, another little label or identity that I'm very all or nothing. That habit, that mindset, it's not going to be making it easy for your subconscious to have the long-term weight loss and weight maintenance that you're after. Let me explain. So if we have a graph here, and we have progress up here, progress towards your goal, and then we have time. If your all or nothing approach is currently doing this, yeah, we make progress, we're on it for a week or 2 weeks or to the next holiday or something, and then, oh good, because we've been struggling to actually keep it all together, we fall off again. Then we want to keep going, and then we fall off again. Keep going, fall off. We end up either going downwards, or at best, we maintain, right? What we want to do is find habits that make it easier to have progress. So this might not mean that we have the rate of this progress here, but if we're doing this instead of this, that's got to be a good thing, because time is the only thing that is going to just keep coming at us. We can't stop time, but we can change the trajectory. Now, how do we change this? Because I'm aware if you feel like you've identified as an all or nothing person, it's going to be quite difficult to change. How do we do that? Well, first thing is we need to rewire the brain again. Now that you understand how rewiring the brain works, I'm going to give you a little analogy of why this 100% isn't necessarily the best approach. So if you are training towards a marathon, maybe you have done a 12 or 16 week plan. That plan, which you have accepted is the right way to do it, is going to start with a 2 or 3K run. Then it's going to move up to a 4 or a 5K. And over the first few weeks, you might get to 5K. Then a couple more weeks down, you're going to get to 10K. Then again, about halfway through, you're going to get to the half marathon. No, it's a gradual build. However, with nutrition and swapping our long-term habits, we never really try and take that same approach. It's always, just give me everything, I'm going to do it all this time. It's not a long-term approach. So I want you to take the slow, gradual approach. But how do we do that practically? Well, it comes down to goals, goal setting. And the key thing here, it's got to be relatable and achievable goals. So if you are now motivated to start and trying to make some change that identity shift, rewire your brain, instead of thinking, I'm going to go out and plan every single meal next week and I'm going to follow through with it, I've got my shopping list, everything's going to be perfect. That's probably the you of old. The you that's going to be new is, I'm going to look at what I'm currently doing and I'm going to take a step in the right direction. It might be planning a few of the dinners. It might be actually planning a shopping list. If we can take that small step, it's suddenly going to feel like progress. Now, the key thing there is how you attribute progress, because I'm sure if you're in this category, what you're probably thinking is the perfectionist in me knows that I can do more. So I've taken some progress, yes, James. However, I could have done every day. And you're thinking therefore that it's just a struggle, it's a failure, I haven't done enough. I want you to change that belief. If there has been some step in the right direction, I want you to embrace that, celebrate that. That is the thing that shows there's progress over time. When we then embed that habit and that becomes the norm, then we make it a little bit more difficult. We make it a little bit harder, because at that point we've rewired. That thought process has started to go one way. We're accepting it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but a step in the right direction. Therefore, accepting that it's going to be an 80, 90% good, great. It doesn't have to be perfect to allow that new trajectory of progress that we're after. So I really want you to challenge that. The third psychological factor that I want you to consider, and if anyone understood what this drawing was, it's meant to be a picture. So number 3 is a picture of a hedge. What does that mean, James? Here I'm referring to hedging words. Now, hedging words, things that are psychologically and subconsciously blocking your progress for the long term. A hedging word example then, James. Maybe, possibly. When we have these words in our diction and in the narrative that we think and we talk about ourselves with, it's going to be giving our subconscious brain a get out out clause from committing. Now, number 2 and 3 have to be used together, because if we're going to be committing to some sort of goal here that's now relatable and achievable, it has to be we're all for it. We're fully in. So instead of saying, well, hopefully I'll do the meal planning on Sunday next week, I might is actually another one. I might get around to doing that meal planning. We've probably built that habit because of our all or nothing approach. We say those words because we know that sometimes we can do it, but other times we can't, because sometimes it's 100, sometimes it's 0. But now we're in this easier space to manage. Because we've set a realistic and achievable goal, we need to get rid of these, because otherwise our brain still thinks, actually, because I've hedged my bets, I've said, well, hopefully I can start my meal planning. When it gets to Sunday, and that's the day when you're going to do it, when life happens, you've got to pick up your child from a different thing, and suddenly time is a little bit reduced. Well, at least I hoped I could do it. So something else has come in that has enabled me not to do it, instead of making this thing an actual priority, something that you commit to. So how do we change? We change the wording. We change the narrative. I want, firstly, your attention to be brought to these. So I want you to bring in friends, family members, children especially, get them to call you up and police you on when you say these things. Hopefully now, just listening to this, you'll start to actually realize when you say those things. And it might be even like in a work setting. Oh yeah, I'll try and get to that meeting. I'll try. That's another hedging word. Oh, well, I tried. Didn't happen, but at least I tried. We need to say, I will. We need to start saying things like, I can, I will, I am going, I'm going to. Words that actually commit us. If we change that, everything becomes easier for the subconscious part of our brain. Labels, 100% hedging words. We're going to rewire your brain. And the good news, when you get this right, your habits start to feel easier. You start to rely less on discipline and restriction. So instead of it being like, oh, I can only have one biscuit, it actually starts to be like, only want or need to have one biscuit. That's a really positive shift to have, because it makes the whole process feel easier. If the whole process of losing and maintaining a new body weight feels easy because it's happening at the subconscious level, you're much more likely to actually succeed long term. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like, consider subscribing to my channel, or maybe just have a look through my channel for some other videos. Hopefully there's some other things in there that you'll resonate and get some value from. I'll catch you in the next one.